Hello everyone, we are another nerdy couple, and in today's video we're going to be talking about probably the saddest episode of TV in the history of TV. I mean, wow.
It was so good.
It was good. It was really good.
It was such a gut punch and such a
and
so sad.
So this is the 8th and second to last episode of WandaVision.
We're so close.
Spoilers, just in case you're new.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, and it was just taking us through Wanda's whole life and exactly how we got to the point that we got to.
Yeah.
Right? And we also got a little bit of Agatha Harkness. She was a
we
witch in
got her
1693, whatever. That was cool. She had
her mom killed her. And
she killed her mom.
Her mom tried to kill her, and then she killed her mom.
Right. She
and her whole cousin.
She used the life steal.
Yeah. And probably their power, too.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Which was pretty cool. So she's powerful. She was like the most powerful witch out of all of them. So
she's the Violet Witch.
Exactly. But she don't know about no Scarlet Witch. We'll get into that. So Agatha, she's confronting Wanda and they're talking about it, and then Agatha is basically like, listen, let's figure out
let's go see
what brought you here. And she's like, I don't know. And she's like, well, don't worry, we'll take you through it. And I really loved what happened in the first one, especially because it really challenged my own preconceived notions about how that whole thing took place. Because in the previous movies, in Age of Ultron, she said we waited there in the rubble for 2 days waiting for Stark to kill us. And it's like, in my mind, I created okay, well, she was already in this war-torn place, and she was living in it just wasn't a good situation to begin with, and she's probably used to all this death and destruction all around her, but she was just watching her favorite TV show with her parents in their house, just like how we were doing right now, except without our parents. And
without our parents.
I mean, it was just us watching a TV show.
Hi, Dad.
Yeah. And it just got blown up.
Yeah, but... Yes and no, because
yes, outside the window.
Yeah, I look outside, I see someone walking their dog, not much is going on, very peaceful.
No, it was a very different environment, but...
Yeah, but, they were still in this war-torn, awful place. But it was just... She was just 6 or 7 or however old she was, so she was still very much a child and didn't have an understanding of what was going on outside, and her parents did a really good job of,
protecting
her. And also something that I just thought of now, I wonder if the reason they were, practicing their English, because the reason they were watching the TV shows was TV night, we practice our English, whatever. I wonder if that was that they had plans to leave. They wanted to leave the country.
Probably.
Because,
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I think it's interesting, something that I never really thought of, because, that's not how she was presented to us. Mm-hmm. That she was a witch all along.
Yeah, I always thought that, her powers just came from the Mind Stone, and that's that.
Yeah, and so it's interesting to see that, no.
Mm-hmm, she was a baby witch.
Yeah, she's the reason that Stark didn't kill them. She stopped it.
Yeah. Well, at least that's what Agatha thinks.
Yeah, that's what Agatha thinks. But you could see her, doing that.
Yeah, she did reach out to it.
She talked about it. She was like, oh, and then you wake up and it was all a nightmare, and it's okay. And they talked earlier about the shenanigans and how everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. With TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
So she willed it to be okay.
Right.
And so that was really sad, seeing her parents die.
Yeah.
And then we go and we see...
The Hydra.
Oh, yes, the testing. So we see how she got her powers.
Right. And... the Mind Stone explodes from blue into the yellow that it is, and she sees that vision of a silhouette, coming out of it, and I think we both agree that we think that she was just seeing her own future self or her capabilities.
Yeah, her potential.
Her potential, yeah, and that's the Scarlet Witch right there, like that.
Yeah, and so it was cool. And then also something that I found interesting was the camera in that scene. So they were obviously recording this because this was Hydra testing and stuff.
Yeah.
When the experimenters looked back on the footage, you see her walk in, and then you see her down on the floor.
Right.
And I think it's interesting because we see from like WandaVision that she cuts things, you know?
Oh yeah, that is true.
In the show, when they're watching it, like when Darcy was watching it and stuff, she was able to cut out the stuff that she didn't want them to see.
Right.
And it's interesting that, like, I guess the Mind Stone messed with the tape so that they didn't they didn't see that happen because the Mind Stone goes back into the Scepter. Like, we later see it in the Scepter.
Yeah.
In other Marvel movies and stuff. So that wasn't when they got it out.
Right. Well, no, because that, like, in Age of Ultron, when we get the Scepter, is when they put it into Vision.
Yeah, but we get the Scepter and it's still a blue stone.
Oh,
we take it out.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because when Wanda got her powers, the blue stone exploded, and then we saw the yellow stone, and she interacted with the yellow stone.
Yes.
But it must have, like, come out, gone back in, all in the time, and, like, cut from the tape, you know?
Yeah. And then after that, right, because that was pretty much it for that, we fast forward to her being in Avengers Base, just her and Vision, after the fact that her brother, Pietro, died. And she's just super omega sad. Real sad girl hours. Like, real bad. And Vision just comes in and he just comforts her. You know, like, that's all that it was. He watches Malcolm in the Middle with her. And he just tries his best to make her feel a little bit better. And eventually, you know, obviously it works because she ended up falling in love with him. Yeah. And stuff. And then
it's interesting because something that I never realized is, like, she was alone in the Avengers headquarters.
Right.
Because, like, everyone else had their own lives, their own houses to go to. Like, Avengers headquarters was supposed to be where they all lived.
Yeah.
But, like, Tony lived in his fancy Iron Man 3 house, and Hawkeye, like, went home to the farm, and, like, everyone had their own place. And although Natasha didn't have her own family and her own life, she probably had an apartment before Avengers and probably, like, went back there. And so Vision was the only person that, like Wanda, had nothing outside of the Avengers.
I would argue that Cap could be...
Cap could have been there.
That he could have been there, you know.
Well, he had the apartment.
We saw the apartment in The Winter Soldier, and I don't know when that came out but, like, he could be spending a lot of time there if he doesn't live there, you know? Yeah. Because he trained them. That was his job to train them.
That's true. But, even then, like, that's the trainer, that's Dad. Like, Vision stepped in more as, like, a friend.
A friend, of course.
And they were both just there all the time.
Exactly.
You know?
So, I mean, you know.
So, yeah.
And then the next thing that we see...
In that scene... when she's talking about the waves crashing on her and her drowning and stuff, and just, like, the grief that she had because of her brother dying, she said, the only thing that would bring me comfort is seeing him again.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that hurts so bad. Yeah. Because he was like, oh, how can I cheer you up? You know? He can't.
And then shortly after that, we fast forward to after the blip, right? After they defeat Thanos. And she's going into Sword headquarters, and we see in the top of the screen, there's a TV as well there, like, showing the news, and the headline is Celebration for the Returned. And Wanda is feeling the most alone she's ever felt. She doesn't have her parents, she doesn't have her brother. Vision died twice in front of her eyes. Yeah. And she's just trying to get something back. And she just came from the funeral of Tony Stark, you know, within a few days. And she's just going in there. She's like, I want to give him a funeral, because she hasn't had a funeral for anybody that she loved. Her parents got blown up. Pietro died, and she just went to the Avengers compound after that. And Vision is getting torn apart by Sword.
It's interesting. Agatha mentions that Pietro's body is on another country. So I wonder where his body ended up, because I remember Hawkeye, like, bringing it onto the boat.
That's right.
So, like, she could have had a funeral for him.
But, like,
but yeah,
ain't no open casket.
Oh no, I was gonna say something. I even went like this. You saw me.
Yeah, you did the Wanda head tilt.
Oh, I got it.
Anything?
You keep talking.
Celebration for the Returned?
Yes.
I knew it.
There's a parallel there between her and Monica
Rambeau.
Yes, in that they both come back and their family is gone.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting. So, like, everyone is so happy, excited. I'm back. Let me go find my family.
Right.
But then Monica, she comes back and she's told her mom died while she was dead. And then Wanda comes back and everyone's coming back except for, like, her only loved one because he did die in this thing.
He real
but,
death.
like, he real died.
Yeah.
And so I think that parallel is interesting, especially with how, like, Monica kept trying to talk to her, like, I know what you're feeling, I know what you're feeling, and, like, she kind of does.
Yeah.
Not to the same extent, because she didn't have to kill her mom, but,
exactly.
you know?
So, Wanda's talking to the person at the front desk, like, let me in, I just want to see him, blah, 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 right? And this is going on for a while, it tells us. And eventually they're like, all right, just let her in, 2 lefts and then a right, right? And she starts going to the door, and dude's like, oh, no, I got to buzz you in. She's like, I got it. Boof, right? So she walks in, she goes to Director Hayward's office, and he just the entire time is egging her on and trying to get her to act out and be violent. Because she came in there just being like, yo, I just want to see my loved one, and I want to give him a funeral, right? And he's like, I can't let you do that. That's $3 billion worth of vibranium going in the dirt. And he talks about, you're the only person who could bring their loved one back online because he's a computer to him.
Yeah, and he said
Hayward.
He said something about it being a sentient weapon.
Right.
And so he had to research
to do it. It was
like
moral and
it was
ethical obligation.
Logical, whatever. I don't... A bunch of garbage. And he's trying to get her to turn him on.
Yeah.
Like to turn Vision on. And... He's the worst. He's the worst,
and like he knows what it's doing to show her Vision's body in pieces. Like his head is off, his torso is not connected to any of his appendages. Like it's just a terrible sight for anybody to see of anything, you know.
Yeah, and so she gets upset and wants to go see it, you know.
Right.
So she breaks the window and she flies in, and it looks real dramatic. Like she's breaking in. And then she gets down there and she just wants to see the body. And like the guys come in with guns and he's like, well, let her do it. And you know, they think she's gonna like take him or something. And Hayward's like, yeah, take it.
She does like touch his forehead.
She does. She goes to do it, which is something we saw her do in Civil War.
Right. That she doesn't. You know, I just feel you.
I just feel you. Yeah. And she couldn't feel him.
She couldn't. He was gone.
And like that hurt my heart so bad.
And then after that, she just peacefully leaves. Now, she did break a door and some windows, but she didn't steal the body like we were led to believe by Hayward in one of the previous episodes. Yeah. So that leaves the question like, oh, where did Vision come from? Well, just hold on a couple minutes.
Well, we're getting there.
Right? And the next thing we see is Wanda just driving to Westview. And you could take this one because it hurts our heart, but it hurts you. It hits you hard.
It hit me so bad, man. Okay, so she gets in the car after like the Hayward encounter, and there's like a letter there, and we're like, well, what's this letter, you know? And so she drives to Westview. And we get there, and she opens, like, it's Westview's rundown. It's a sad. It's
everybody in there would just had a sad face. Yeah.
Right? And you see a couple of the characters that we've seen in the TV show. And we get there, and it's so sad. And she pulls up to this, like, empty lot that has just the foundation. Yeah. And she opens up, like, this card, I guess, and it's the deed to their house. And it says to grow old in V. Yeah. Right. And Vision, and it's like in a heart, and it's so cute. And she gets there, she opens it up, she's in this place, and then she just starts crying because she breaks down. She's on her knees, and then she like stands up and just like and so the whole house gets built, and then she again, and she blasts through Westview to make it the 50s. And then she ahs one more time, and this time it's a long and it's Vision coming out of her. And it's interesting too because like she's red and Westview's red and the house is red, but Vision was yellow. Like it was Mind Stone.
Right.
And she made Vision.
She made him.
She created
Vision. him. So our theories were wrong that she was just animating his body because she created it.
Yeah.
She made it. Mm-hmm. And something that I think is interesting is that the only other times that we've seen Wanda use her powers in the entirety of the MCU, she'd be using her hands. Mm-hmm. She'd go, ah, la, 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 and things happen.
Yeah.
But this was coming from the heart, man. It was, yeet. It was coming out like that. It was just pouring out of her. So it's like, does she just have some like untapped power in her that is beyond anybody's understanding of what she can actually do? Like, is her hands just easy mode, you know? So that, I wonder if we'll ever see that kind of thing happen again, right?
Yeah,
if she just goes into like Scarlet Witch mode.
Yeah, so that's how she did it. And then Vision, he like comes to, you know, and she's in like the 50s gear, and he goes, welcome home.
Welcome home, Wanda.
Welcome home, Wanda.
Yeah.
Or or something.
Right. And then, you know, you have that nice scene, and then you just hear Agatha slow clapping like a demon.
She's the worst.
And then she's like, all right, I got it. You know, I understand where all this came from, right? Because that's what she wanted to do the whole time. She just wanted to know.
She was like amazed by Wanda and like how she did it. And she's like, tell me.
Right.
Tell me.
And the whole time in the episode, I thought she just wanted to learn, like, okay, how did you do it so that like, what can I, like, how can I replicate this, right? Mm-hmm. But that's not, she was looking for proof of something else that we'll see. So she finishes slow clapping, and then she leaves the house, and then you hear Wanda's children screaming like, Mom, help, help. And so Wanda goes outside, and you have the kids, you know, tied up with their kid leashes, their purple kid leashes from Agatha's magic.
But from their neck.
From their neck, yeah. A little less humane than a regular kid leash, but
Not bad.
And then Agatha goes on this whole spiel of like, you were supposed to be something of myth. You know, like, you are not supposed to be something that's real, that you can just create matter out of nothing. And then she's like, you are the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, you use chaos magic.
Right, you use chaos magic.
That makes you the Scarlet Witch.
Right.
I'm like, they said it!
Exactly. They finally said it.
Yeah. Yeah, which is also interesting. So, although she has the power to create something out of nothing, most of what she's done in Westview is that rearrangement thing that we talked about a few episodes back with the Kevlar and Monica's suit.
Yeah.
So when they did that, they kind of led you to believe she can't create something out of nothing, and they kept reinforcing that idea of like, oh, this is just Vision's body that she's reanimating.
Yeah.
And so it was cool that we now see like she can.
She just made it. Yeah. And she made her house out of nothing as well. It just got built up out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah. The house, Vision, the kids, but not all of Westview.
Yeah. So now, you know, that basically she says Scarlet Witch, and then the episode ends, and I really hope that like the entire 9th episode is just like a slugfest between Wanda and Agatha, just like going at it.
What's a slugfest?
A fight.
Oh, okay.
A big old fight.
Yeah. Well, Hayward's got to come in too, because they said
the team is ready.
Yeah.
The team's ready to launch.
So, okay.
There's a post-credit scene again.
Make sure you watch that. Make sure you watch that
to the end.
Hayward made Vision.
Shady, bro. He's so shady. I hate him.
So I don't know if this Vision is made from Vision's old body, and he was able to like piece it together, because it was kind of grayish. Like, it wasn't the same red that we even saw when he was dismantled, and so it looked a little different. But so he made a Vision, and they're able to power it with the drone that they sent in, that Wanda like
threw out. She's like, you left something.
Yeah, and so remember, it was all glowing.
Right.
And so they made Vision, and they have a team ready to go. So I think they're gonna like
infiltrate.
Send Vision in.
Oh my goodness.
Then there's gonna be 2 Visions,
dude,
and you're not gonna know which one to trust, and it's a whole thing.
If they send in that Vision, that's the death sentence for Hayward, bro. I'm telling you, man. I'm sick of this dude.
I'm sick of him.
I'm sick of him. He's mean.
Yeah. So I think there's gonna be a Hayward, Agatha, and Wanda throwdown.
Right.
Because all of that needs to get sorted.
Yeah. But I do think it is the Vision that we have, because he said we've taken them apart and put them back together so many times.
I guess it's true. Yeah.
But anyway, I would rate this episode 10 out of 10. Very good, very sad, heartbroken. 10 tears out of 10 tears.
I was going to say 10 tears out of 10 tears. Twins.
So that's a 10 out of 10 for Lizzy too.
Yes, very much so good. Such good meat and potatoes. Right. It, a lot of story building and a lot of just heartfelt moments, and then a little bit of story in the real time, but still it was worth it to get that background information. Yeah. So I really liked it. Yeah. It was really good. So thank you so much for watching. Let us know your rating down below in the comments.
Yes, please.
And make sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss our next WandaVision.
You know what she said.
WandaVision review when we review that final episode. All right, make sure to see it. Bye.